All right, plan for this recording is to talk through question 30 on chapter 6 homework. And main thing is this one will show up on the test, and it's semi difficult topic, and I've had a few questions on it, so I'm just going to run through it real quick. So at the top, there is the equation that I presented in one of the lectures, and just to kind of clarify that equation a little bit more. So this h of t is just function notation, and it stands for the height an object is above the ground after it's been shot, released, thrown, one of those things, and it's no longer being propelled. H is the height above the ground or wherever we're measuring from, and t is the time that the object's in the air. Okay, so that's what this whole thing is over here. It changes, it's like my y value, it changes as time goes by. So t represents the time that the object's in the air, typically in seconds. If it's not in seconds, you have to convert it. So this t is in seconds because of this thing right here. It's dealing with acceleration due to gravity, which is a negative 32 feet per second squared. And if you knew a little bit of calculus, we would go backwards from that to generate that equation, but that is for a much higher class. Okay, the v sub 0, the subscript just tells me, it's like an index. It just tells me which velocity I'm looking at. So v sub 0 says the zero velocity or the initial velocity. The velocity at time equals 0 is another way of saying that. So that's what this stands for, the v sub 0. And h of 0, same thing, the height at time equals 0. So once I plug in that information, those two values won't change. The object shot from a certain height with a certain velocity, that doesn't change. It's in the air. Those two numbers are not going to change. What will change is this height and then my times. Okay? Now, question 30. A rocket's being fired. The height of the rocket is modeled by this equation. The question is, how long is the rocket in the air? So the rocket is not in the air when it's on the ground. So h of t stands for the height above the ground. So 0 would be the height of the object when it's sitting on the ground. So I'm going to put in 0 for height and solve for t. One more time on the thought process. If h of t stands for the height above the ground, and I want to know when is the rocket in the air, then I'd have to look from when it was launched to when it lands again. And I showed it going like horizontally also, and the problem said it was shot vertically, but I kind of wanted to show so you could see it going up and back down. Okay, so going back to question like 28, 29, 27 on the homework, to solve these, we solve them by factoring. One of the ways is to solve is by factoring. And so I'm going to leave the 0 alone, and I'm going to ask myself the question, is there something common in both a negative 16 and 240? Is there a number that will evenly divide into 16 and 240? And the answer is yeah. Actually, 16 does. And you would start off with 2, and then 4, and then 8, and just see which ones will go into both of those. And the answer is actually 16 does. So I'm going to factor out just because I'm going to take out a negative 16. You definitely do not have to, but I'm going to factor out a negative 16. It's just kind of easier to see the answer. Next question. Is there a variable common in both terms? Is there a t in both terms? Yep. Is there a t squared in both terms? No, because the second one, that's only t. This is a t squared in the first one, but the second one is not. Okay, so we're factoring out a negative 16t. Another way of saying it was we're dividing out a negative 16t. And when I factor out a negative 16 from a negative 16, I technically get a 1 here. And I have t squared divided by t, and so I have t left. So negative 16 divided by 16 is 1. We had 2 t's. I took 1 t out. I have 1 t left. Okay. How many times will 16 go into 240? Answer, a negative 15 times, because a negative times the negative gives me the positive 240. And 16 times 15 is 240. Okay, let's solve. Think of this as two numbers being multiplied together. I have a negative 16 times whatever t is, there's one number, and t minus 15, there's a number. And these two numbers are multiplied because they're touching, they're being multiplied together. The only way that two numbers, when multiplied together, it's going to give me 0 is if one of them is 0. Right? 0 times 10 equals 0. 14 times 0 equals 0. It doesn't matter which one is 0. As long as one of them is 0, the answer is going to be 0. So, when will a negative 16 equal 0? 16 times what is 0? Well, when t equals 0. When will t minus 15 equal 0? So what number minus 15 equals 0? When t equals 15. So when is a rocket on the ground? At time equals 0 when it starts, and after 15 seconds when it comes back down. How long is the rocket in the air? The time of 15 minus 0, or 15 seconds. Okay, so just a real quick run through of question number 30, and I hope that helps. Guaranteed, it's on the test, so make sure you can do that one. And if you need more practice problems, shoot me an email and I will make up some more for you.